What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. We got some cool news today. We don't have the official announcement of the Sugo Fest yet for Ulti and Hiyori, so we can't exactly see who's going to be available on what part in terms of the legend pools and stuff, but ultimately we kind of can understand what that Sugo Fest is going to be all about. I've already made a couple of videos talking about the batch and characters that are coming out. But today we're having a look at the level limit break, because level limit break is an exciting time in the month. We get to see some of these older Sugo Fest exclusive characters come to the forefront with amazing new buffs that make them more usable in 2022 content. So I'm excited to see what they've got in store for us today. As we click in here, the top row of characters right here, these are the characters that are receiving the buffs. Now ultimately, I am pretty disappointed with the characters that they decided to choose, because I was really expecting them to select the movie characters for the Film Red celebration. However, that still may occur at the end of August moving into September. I think that that is still a valid option, because we're not even really in the full swing of the Film Red celebration yet. So I think there's definitely still time for them to do that next month. However, at the end of August, if there's no movie level limit breaks at that point, then I'll be a little upset. But here we have 5 new characters receiving buffs, and we can see that they're all Admirals, and we've got Traflagar Law added along the way there. So V1 Admirals, and then you've got V2 Fujitora. V1 Fujitora didn't receive a buff, which is kind of interesting. They decided to go with V2, but honestly, V2 is probably the one that needed the most buffs, because he's just a terrible character. Let's just jump into him first. We've got Fujitora. So this is the character that was focused around the slasher class. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of his buffs. Let's go ahead over to the level limit break, and we can see his captain ability. So Fujitora will now boost slasher characters' attack by 4.75 times, HP by 1.5, boost their attack by approximately 5.5 when you attack with good, great, and then perfect without breaking the chain. So they've basically just given him the same captain ability, but just enhance the multipliers, which is not a bad thing either. 5.5 multiplier is nothing to scoff at. Now, of course, because you have to hit in good, great, and perfect order, the way that they've kind of mitigated some of the damage you'll get from that is that they usually would have given him a chain locking special ability, so I assume they're going to keep that. Let's go ahead and have a look at that special. But captain ability wise, it's fine. It's basically the same thing, but with bigger numbers. There's nothing really too much to talk about there. So the special ability, 50 times his attack in non-type damage to random enemies 10 times, which is the same, I believe. They might have upped the damage there. He changes slasher character slots, including block, into matching, and then locks their slots for 1 turn. It's actually pretty good, a full board of slots and locking them. He delays all enemies by 2 turns, which is interesting. And then he also sets the chain multiplier to 3.5 for 3 turns. That's a pretty nice buff, actually. 3.5 chain lock for 3 turns. I mean, it's like Shanks Crew, right? Shanks Crew has the same sort of special ability. But this guy allows you to get a full board of slots on top of it. He's a damage dealing special, so you can have different shenanigans with that too. Ultimately, they've given him really nice buffs. He becomes a much more powerful unit, definitely a unit that you can use in content. Though, I don't really know how often mono slashers are really going to be used, but I guess if there is an option to use mono slashers, this is definitely a character that you can use for that type of content. He seems fine. This is definitely not a character that I would go out of my way to level up and get him completely maxed out, ready to go. Though I definitely would love to try him out once he is done, just to use him in content, because this character just rarely ever sees play. But now they've given him full board of slots and a chain lock. He seems fine. Nothing really too broken, but it's a good upgrade. So the next one here is Borsalino. Now Borsalino, it's kind of funny because this character is basically never used in normal content, but he's like one of the best Pirate Rumble characters in the game, giving significant buffs to shooters and slashers alike. So I'm very intrigued to see what they've done to give him buffs in regular content. So what does he do right now? So this is, I believe this might be with Limit Break expansion. No, this is not. I don't think it is. Either way, he gives -2 cooldown to the crew, and then gives 3.5 attack, 1.35 recovery, 4.25 when you use his special ability, and then a multi-stage special that changes slots into matching, recovers, and does damage. Okay, so it's pretty basic stuff. So let's have a look. Captain ability, he reduces his own cooldown by 2 turns at the start of the quest, and then further reduces the crew's special charge time by 2 turns. So -2 to himself, and then -2 to the whole crew. So Kizaru himself is at -4 at the start of the quest. I like that. He also will boost the crew's attack by 4.5 and recovery by 1.35. So recovery didn't need to be changed, but they haven't changed it. And a 4.5 attack multiplier is definitely very good. Makes their size slots have matching slot effects. That's a very odd choice. And he also boosts the crew's attack by approximately 5 times in turns where you use his special ability. Again, like, it's because he is focused around using his special ability, and the thing is that you only get it for 1 turn. Whereas, like, Time Skip Leafy, for example, when you use his special ability, the buffed captain ability lasts for 3 turns, whereas this guy, he only lasts for the turn that you activate it, and that's it. Then he goes back down to a 4.5. So, it's fine. He's okay. I guess if you want to do some kind of speed farming shenanigans, you could potentially find a way to use him, but it's not amazing. I mean, this character's probably still never going to see a lot of play in regular content. But let's have a look at the special ability. So he reduces shooter and slasher cooldown by 2. That's actually very good. And I assume he completely resists reverse, right? Paralysis. He doesn't completely resist special reverse? I don't know about that one. That seems a little weird. He does the -2 cooldown. He changes their slots, meaning shooter and slasher. Their slots, including block, into matching. Doubles the attack and the type effects of normal attacks for shooter and slasher for 2 turns. So you get 2 times attack, 2 times affinity to shooter and slasher for 2 turns. I kind of like that, actually. That's pretty good. The fact that the stage 2 special does those buffs for 2 turns, I wish they changed his captain ability where the buffed effect lasts for 2 turns. So if you are dealing with an enemy that revives, or you need to take multiple stages to kill a boss, you can have, you know, that multiplier lasts for multiple turns. So he does that, and then he also heals the crew by 15x his recovery, and then does, you know, major damage 20 times. So he's a damage dealing special once again. Look, I don't really like it too much. Oh, hang on, I just saw something. Hang on a second. So at level 150, his crewmate ability changes. That's kind of cool. I never noticed that. Okay, so he actually will resist special reverse with his special. Okay. That makes him definitely better. That is definitely a lot better. And then stage 1 is very, very similar kind of effect. Just a little bit weaker, of course. Yeah, I think he could definitely find some kind of usage. The fact that he gives a full board through block slots is nice. I mean, that's always going to be useful. Resisting special reverse, then attack boost and color affinity boost. Like, for sure, this can definitely see play. I mean, unfortunately, shooters are not very good. But I guess, you know, this could kind of help out a little bit. And then slashers are getting a little bit of buff, obviously, with Fujitora as well. I wonder if Fujitora got any buffs with his crewmate abilities. I don't think he would have. This character doesn't really seem like the type of guy that needs buffs anyway. But anyway, Kizaru seems like a pretty interesting buff set. So the next character is Traflagar Law version 1. Let's go ahead and check him out. So his captain ability is going to boost Slasher and Free Spirit by 5x. 5.25 if you land 3 perfects in a row, and then 1000 healing at the end of the turn. Not an amazing captain ability. I mean, I like that it's, you know, flat, you know, base boost of 5x, and then a very, very small upgrade if you hit 3 perfects, and then the 1000 healing. Like, it's very basic, but it's usable. Like, you can hybrid this up with a lot of good characters. Like, nothing really here that you can complain about. It's just the fact that it doesn't do a whole lot. And then his special ability allows special damage and end of turn damage effects and HP reducing specials to ignore damaging or defensive effects from all enemies for 1 turn, which is exactly what he did previously. A lot of people were wondering whether or not, you know, this character could do an effect where he makes damage dealing specials go through normal attacks only. I think that would have been incredible, but at the same time, you can understand why they didn't do something like that. He also applies increased damage taken status to all enemies by 1.5 times for 1 turn. That does not go through immunity buffs though, so that's a little bit annoying. And then he also will deal 200 times his attack and side damage to a single enemy and reduces the crew's cooldown by 1. Does he resist special reverse? It doesn't look like he does. He does change his crewmate ability actually does change though, which is interesting. So, base attack of the crew by 100 and boost Free Spirit and Slasher characters recovery by 300 when you're 30% or less. Okay, that's like kind of weird and interesting. Very, very strange. Law seems fine. Like, he seems like his special didn't actually change all that much. I mean, you can have a look here. His special was the same sort of thing. Damage, minus cooldown, and allow specials and all that to go through defensive effects. But then with level 150, he does the same thing, except that it's now flat 200 times his attack and side damage. And then he applies increased damage taken to the enemy. So he didn't really receive a lot of buffs. I don't know, I'm a little bit concerned about that. I feel like they kind of did him a little dirty. Obviously his captain ability changed significantly, which is for the better. But the special ability, I was expecting a little bit more from Law, unfortunately. So I think this is, honestly, overall, a little bit of a disappointment. Alright, so the next character is going to be version 1 Kuzan. Definitely a fan favorite character for sure. So I'm interested to see what kind of buffs they're given to this guy. So the captain ability reduces his own cooldown by 3. And then, yeah, further reduces the special charge time of the crew by 1 turn. Yeah, that's pretty good. So he himself is going to have -4 cooldown at the start of the quest. That's pretty incredible. He boosts the crew's attack by 4.5 with a 1.35 times HP boost, and then boosts their attack by a further multiplier if any enemies were defeated in the previous turn, up to 5.25 in 5 straight turns. So, okay, trying to just digest that. So 1.35 health, 4.5 attack, a -1 cooldown, -3 to himself. And then every time you kill something, the attack boost slightly buffs. So it starts at 4.5, and after 5 turns in a row of killing something, it goes to 5.25. Pretty straightforward. He also doubles the crew's attack and slot effects for 2 turns at start of battle 3. That's pretty cool. I like that. So I don't think this is going to see play in Kizuna. A lot of people are going to immediately say Kizuna, which I can understand. But at the same time, when you're at a Kizuna, getting a 2 times attack and orb boost isn't really that good. But at the same time, I suppose you can kind of get around like the 10-star difficulty. Obviously not for Super Boss, but for like the 10-star difficulty, you can abuse this where you don't have to really worry about launching specials, especially if you want to build a team that is focused around, killing the boss with like one team versus all. You could like run Kuzan as the captain because he is a rainbow captain, and you automatically get an attack and orb boost immediately when you reach battle 3, which means that you don't have to worry about, getting an attack and orb boost. You can worry about a conditional boost or base attack boost or affinity or whatever you want. That kind of frees up a lot of space on the team. This could see a little bit of play. This is a very intriguing captain ability, but I think it could definitely see a lot of play in arenas, right? Because sometimes the mini boss on stage 3 can be a bit of a problem. A lot of the times you'll build teams that are focused around, obviously killing the final boss on battle 5, and then battle 4 you build teams with, but then with battle 3, sometimes you just kind of like, brute force your way through battle 3 just to reach battle 4 and 5. So having just a free 2 times attack and orb boost you can get on battle 3 to help you clear that mini boss sometimes can be very useful. So I think there's a lot of different applications for this type of captain ability. So let's go ahead and have a look at his special ability. So he extends the duration of your attack and slot affecting boosts by 1 turn, and of course it makes sense with his ability because you can use his special ability to make the attack and orb boost become a 3-turn attack and orb boost. Makes sense. He sets the chain multiplier's minimum value at 2.75 and a maximum of 35, and deals 1 million fixed damage to all enemies that ignores defensive effects. This dude got so buffed. Holy. I mean, have a look at his special ability right now. This is current day Kuzan. So the extending of attack and orbs, 2.5 chain lock, and 100,000 damage. So now what they've done is they have slightly buffed the chain effect that he provides, but not only did they do that, they made it a chain boundary instead of a chain lock. That is a huge upgrade to the character, and instead of dealing 100k AoE through barriers, he does 1 million. That's a very, very nice buff. Again, damage dealing special, and there's no condition for that 1 million damage either. Some characters have conditions for that, so he doesn't have that. This character's really good. I would love to test out this guy in a couple of pieces of content. This guy looks amazing. Like, such a great effect overall with this guy. Great special ability, great captain ability, and then what about his rumble abilities too? Shooter class HP and speed up. When you hit a crit, you get attack buff. Yeah, you gotta land a crit, which is not very good. Large range, 2500 fixed damage, 85% chance of action bind, which I don't think his abilities are similar to that. I mean, it's somewhat similar, but yeah, it's unfortunate that Pyre Rumble abilities don't really get buffed that much with level limit break. That's the only real concern I have with level limit break, is that the buffs with Rumble are minuscule at best. So I wish that they received a little bit more of a buff. We just need more Pyre Rumble buffs in general, but Either way, I think Kuzan, amazing upgrades. And then the final character that we're talking about here is going to be V1 Sakazuki, the first Akainu in the game. Everyone loved this Akainu. He was super strong. Let's go ahead and check what kind of buffs he received. So he's going to boost strength characters' attack by 4.5, and then boosting their attack by approximately 5x if you have a strength slot. Boost other characters' attack by 3.5. That's a nice change, actually. That's one thing that Akainu didn't really deal with. Previously, I believe he didn't boost all other characters at all. Strength characters 3.25 and then a further boost. Yeah, so they really upgraded that captain ability. He boosts the crew's chances of landing on strength slots, which is good. And then if you tap on this character with a strength slot, he boosts the type effects of normal attacks of your strength characters by 1.5 for 1 turn. Wow, that's a very interesting ability. We haven't seen that, if I remember correctly. Just, when you attack with a strength slot, he gives a free color affinity boost to your strength units. Which is good, but if you have to go up against like some quick mobs or a quick mini-boss, this could definitely be a problem. Because if you attack with him with a strength slot, you get color affinity, which means that your strength units don't do as much damage towards quick. So, quick mini-bosses and quick mobs definitely could be kind of annoying with this guy as a captain. But if you just look outside of that, he's a really solid unit. This is, again, another unit you could use to get around like certain things. Like this guy gives you a free color affinity boost. Now the real question is when you attack with a strength slot, does it naturally apply it into his captain ability, or does it give you a buffed color affinity boost? Does it give you an actual buff on your unit? I don't know how that works, because if it doesn't apply a buff, you could really do some crazy shenanigans with this captain ability, because you can stack this with other color affinity boosts. But if it does apply a buff, which I think it probably does, then, you know, it is what it is. I think it's not a bad captain ability at all. It seems pretty reasonable to me. I kind of dig it, and it allows you to use non-strength units in the capacity as well, because it gives them a little bit of a boost, so you can run, you know, non-strength units to get around utility or slot barriers that sometimes can be a bit of a problem, so not too shabby. But let's have a look at that special, which does 200x to all enemies, so damage dealing special. He changes all slots, including block, into strength, and boosts strength characters' attack by 2.5 for 1 turn, so heavy strength attack boost. And if the crew has an attack up status when you launch the special, further boost the crew's attack by 0.3. I like it. I like it. You know, they make double Akainu not really redundant. You can have a 2.8 times attack boost with double Akainu. Seems pretty good, man. I think that they've done a pretty good job with Sakazuki, man. They've done a really nice job here. I wonder, I can't remember if this guy has like a level, like a limit break expanded captain ability or anything, but be interesting to see if he does. And I don't think these kind of abilities have really changed either. That looks to be about the same. So they've done a really good job with some of these level limit breaks. I think Law was a little bit underwhelming. I think Kizaru won't see too much play, and I think that, you know, Kuzan specifically is the one that's really wowed me. I think his upgrades are fantastic, and then I think Sakazuki and Fujitora are actually pretty good too. But overall, that's the breakdown of the brand new level limit breaks. We've got a lot of level limit broken characters in the game now, and it's only going to be progressing as we move on throughout the months. As I said, really hope that we get the movie characters, you know, Shiki, Zephyr, Tesoro, potentially Bullet and Stampede Luffy with upgrades moving forward. I think that would be fantastic. Specifically Zephyr, Shiki, and Tesoro. Those three are the ones that need the most buffs, and considering we're at the film celebration, it would be the best time to apply those types of buffs. Potentially give him a super evolution as well. Why not, right? That's going to wrap it up from me though. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.